If you're a property investor or a sourcer, what I'm about to share with you can make you a lot more money with a lot less effort. You know, my name's Tom Wade, and these methods allowed me to sell over £42 million worth of property without ever having any prior experience before the age of 30. Started from scratch. My last job was a Holland & Barrett, and I quit that job to make over 6 figures my first year. And these methods I've taught to my clients. A lot of you might know some of them on YouTube if you follow them, but everyday people that have generated over 9 figures in finder's fees and equity in their property portfolio by applying these methods. So number one is you must know your menu. What do I mean by knowing your menu? So most people know 2 or 3 property strategies. The problem is let's just say you're a tradesperson and someone calls you out for a job, and you go there with your toolbox and you have a hammer and you have a screwdriver. However, the solution they want is a hole, which a drill would achieve that outcome. And you don't have the drill. You just lost out on winning that business and making money. So we must understand all of the property methods. We must have a level 10 knowledge in all of them, so we're ready to monetize every single lead opportunity that comes to us so we can make money. So there's many different methods. I always break them down to high equity and no equity. What I mean by that is equity is the money the seller would have if they were to sell their property and pay off their fees and any debt or loans they have, right? So let's say you get an opportunity come to you and the house is worth 200,000 and the loan is 100,000. They have potential 100,000 of equity. Make sense? So what methods can we do? There's a few different methods. We can do the wholesale below market value method, where you get it secured at a 20 to 25% off strategy, okay? And you can essentially control that property with an agreement, an option to purchase agreement, and assign it to a cash buyer that's going to end up buying it and take the £5,000 or £10,000 fee. Usually you're maxed at about 10 grand. It's what an investor will pay usually, because these houses are anywhere between 100 to 300,000, maybe some in London, but they're usually around there. So that's one method you can do. You can also do the assisted sale method, where you control the property and you say to the seller, look, it might take us about 4 months, but we'll help you find a buyer that will pay retail. They're going to live in the house. This will only work if the properties don't need a lot of work. But basically you're like an agent on steroids, but the seller doesn't have to pay any fees, and you're going to find them a buyer that's going to pay retail closer to the value. But here's the unique thing. They're not going to be in a chain, which is a great sale, because people don't really like agents because they're one of thousands of properties. Then there's the assisted auction sale, where you tell them that you're going to help sell the property in auction, and you'll have a backup buyer if it doesn't sell. So you're either going to find them an investor that will pay a little bit higher price, usually like a landlord investor. This is someone that wants to build a property portfolio and they aren't looking for deep discounts for wholesale prices. And what you're going to do is you're going to say, look, we're going to help you find a buyer in the next 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, or we can put it into an auction. So what you do is you secure it under an agreement, and then you go put that into an auction because you've got permission from the seller to do so. That's a great way. You can make, again, up to 10 grand. I've had some clients make up to 22 grand, 30 grand with that method. But again, they're a little bit harder because you need to get them to sign the agreement and allow you to do that, but it can work. Other methods when they have equity is you do what's called a sub-sale method. A sub-sale method is like a back-to-back. It's a bit more advanced, but essentially what you do, let's just say you've got them to agree a house price. Let's just say the house is, you think you can find a buyer for 180. Okay, it's a good opportunity, it's run down, it needs some work doing to it, and you're gonna line it up with a cash buyer that's either gonna buy it, fix it and renovate it and flip it, or they're gonna buy it, renovate it and refinance. So the BRRRR method: buy, renovate, refinance, rent, right? Or rent, refinance. You understand what I'm saying? So these are great methods, but it needs to be a genuine discount. But what you do is you might agree 150, you move it forward into legals to purchase, and you have the A to B, you're buying it from the seller, okay? But then you have B to C, a buyer's buying it from you. So they're not paying you a fee and signing an agreement, they're buying at the buy price. So for example, they're buying at 160, you secured it at 145, you've got a £15,000 spread. So you only buy the property technically in exchange for 5 minutes, and the solicitor back-to-backs the sale. I like this method because you have stamp duty relief, you don't pay the stamp duty, and if you use the right methods and the right solicitors, you don't have to put any money down either for the deposit. So essentially you're just buying it and flipping it within 5 minutes, and then the buyer is buying the property from the seller. It's a great method. I love one of these strategies. A lot of large companies use these methods. What you can also do with those methods is you can put it right into auction. The downside of this is you do have to put 10% deposit down, and it's a little bit more advanced because you could risk losing that money. But if you speak to the right auction and they say, no, I think we could probably get a buyer for this type of property in our auction coming up next week for 160, you've secured it at 150, again, you can make an easy £10,000 profit, because that buyer is going to be a cash buyer. When the hammer goes down, they have to put 10% down. And believe me or not, but a lot of properties, test me on this, go to the legal pack and you can look at a legal pack, and a lot of the solicitors will have a clause in the legal pack, which is the information pack before you purchase a property. What's really interesting about this is it will say they don't have to be the owner on land registry, which basically means they're a creative property investor, and the sourcer, some people call them in this industry like a backer or a trader. So they're not risking a lot of their own money, and they're in and out within 30 to 40 days for a 5, 10, 20, 30,000 pound fee, which is very, very, very powerful. It's not really a fee, it's more just their spread, the difference between what they purchased it at and sold it at. Great thing, there's stamp duty relief on this as well, which is absolutely brilliant. So this is another advanced method where you don't have to buy it, renovate it, pay the stamp duty, and then flip it. Because traditional ways is you buy it, renovate, and flip it. Great method. People that do that, you do that, keep doing it. It's a great, great method. There's loads of people that do this. 30 or 40,000 people a year do exactly that. It's a great method. And landlords that buy and hold for their portfolio, you have to, use money and stamp duty and all of that, but it's great for wealth building. So they're the methods that you have in your toolkit. Can you see that maybe you only knew one or two of them? Another great method is what happens if they have no equity or they're in negative equity. What are you saying, Tom? What does that mean? What it basically means is, imagine that you have a vendor, which is a homeowner that lives there, or a landlord that owns multiple rental properties, and they want to sell. Problem is their loan is the same value as the house. So the house is worth £100,000. The loan is roughly 100,000 or 105,000, or maybe it's 95,000. But there's estate agent fees, there's legal fees, there's costs. So when they sell it, after all their costs, the problem is they're going to walk away with no money, or they're going to owe the bank money. So this is what's called negative equity. And a lot of people are in this situation. There's a couple of 100,000 people stuck in this situation. How do I know? We've got an AI software which finds all of them for us, so we can reach out to them with a sniper approach and message them or send them a letter and agree these deals. Why do I like these deals? You can source them and flip the deal, or package it up and flip it, whatever terminology you like, and you can take a good £4,000, £5,000, £6,000 fee for finding these deals. Okay, you can also keep the property for wealth building, monthly cash flow and income, and essentially any asset growth. So you're controlling properties in your portfolio without officially owning any. How? It's called a lease option. Like a car, what happens is you go to a car dealer and you can buy the car cash, or you can do what's called a lease to purchase. Really, really simple. Basically means that you can lease it, you agree, you put down a deposit, step one, then you lease it over 2, 3, 5 years for a monthly amount. And at the end, you can give it back, or you have a balloon payment where you basically pay off the car and buy it, or you can give it back. Same as this, you have what's called a lease purchase or a lease option, or however you phrase it, doesn't really matter, get the point. Who would agree to these deals? Well, people that don't really have any money locked up in the property. they're not going to give you their house for 2, 5, 10, 20 years if they have money in the house. It's very, very unlikely if you're going to put little to no money down. So with these properties, you can control property for as little as £1 down, plus your set of legal fees, which is about £1,000, to legally and officially do this and make it proper. But what's beautiful about this method is you can get back that money within 4, 5, 6 months, and everything else is pure profit. You don't have to get a bank loan because it's already in place. You don't have to get credit check because you don't need a loan. All you need to do is be good at finding these sellers and securing and closing the deal. Find, secure, close. That's all you're going to be good at, or match it up with an investor. Here's the thing. A lot of these people, what's called a trapped homeowner, mean they're trapped in their own home that they want to move out of. Or they're an accidental landlord, which means they did move, but they told the bank, I can't sell this. And the bank went, I know, you have no equity. So can I rent it? And they said, yeah, you can rent it. Here's consent to let where you can rent it. Or they changed to a buy-to-let mortgage and they started renting their property. But they don't really want to. They don't care about the £200-300 a month because they've already got the boiler. They don't really want this. They're an accidental landlord. And there's tons of these people that have 1, 2, 3 properties. So you can tell them, look, how about this? How about we take your place? We give you a guaranteed lease payment, a rent payment to cover all of that cost, all of the mortgage. And what that allows you to do is that allows you to move on with your life, okay? It allows you to move on with your life, and legally, we are now responsible for the payment on that property and the upkeep of that property, just like we went to NatWest and bought 123 Main Street in Middlesbrough and got a 25% deposit down and got a loan from the bank. We would be responsible for that, but we know who is really going to be paying that mortgage. We're going to put a good quality tenant, just like any buy to let. You're going to put a tenant in there and you're going to do your maths. That's one method. Very, very powerful, very little downside. You could also make sure that you could multi-let the property. What does that mean if you don't know it? Well, you could rent the rooms if there's a good multi-let opportunity and there's demand for professionals or students. You might also put it on Airbnb and rent it out as a serviced accommodation. If you're new to that, what is serviced accommodation? Well, it's basically like a hotel, Airbnb, booking.com. You rent it by the night. What's the downside? Well, you have to put a little bit more in. You have to what's called kit the property up and stage the property. You need to make sure it's ready for Airbnb. It looks nice, it's ready to go. But I like this because the insurance covers any maintenance and you have higher cash flow, which means instead of making £200 to £300 per month, you're going to be making £400 a month, £600 a month, £750 a month over that month, period. With an Airbnb, you want to aim for 70% occupancy, okay? And if you can do that and you can stress test it, what does that mean? A lot of these property terms. Basically, you can calculate, is it a good deal or not? Does it cash flow? Then what you can do is, again, you can package it and flip it off your lower on funds. If you have a little bit of money, you can start keeping this for the monthly passive cash flow. Yes, there's some work that needs doing. However, I've been teaching my students this for a decade. Write down every single thing that you need to do to source, secure, and close a deal. And if you're keeping the property, what happens week to week, month to month? Write it down and ask yourself a question. Who do I need to delegate this to? What can I automate this? How can I automate this with AI, with technology, with software? And you create freedom by having someone else handle it. You see, the problem is people get overwhelmed with property because they're applying and projecting a 9-to-5 mentality, a manual labor strategy onto a business. And the business, if you want it to perform well, has to have a system, which is a series of actions that someone else is in control of and does, which isn't you clone yourself, or is done by automation. Less is more. Keep it simple, stupid. So let's recap what I've covered. I've covered a lot. And for the few of you that have managed to stay on because this isn't some clickbait garbage, this is the real shit that's going to help you make money. When it comes to property, sourcing and creative strategies, you either have two camps. Write this down. You have high equity, which means that after their loan, if their loan is 50,000 and they sell it for 100,000, they've got £50,000 of potential equity, the profit after all costs of selling their property. You can use many methods. You can secure it below market value at a wholesale price and match that up with an investor. You can put it into an auction. You can sell it to a retail buyer as an assisted sale. You can do a back-to-back method where you don't get paid a fee, you get paid the spread. It can be infinite money, 10, 20, 30. You know, I've done deals myself like 50 grand. I've had a client, Bakir, recently do an £80,000 deal. These are creative contracts that allow you to do this. However, there's going to be loads and loads of sellers that you have where the loan is similar to the price. If your only strategy is buying at a deep discount, it doesn't fucking work, does it? Because they're not going to pay 25 grand back to Santander or their bank, are they? So guess what? We can apply creative term strategies like lease options, like exchange and delayed completion, which is very similar to a lease option, but you exchange on the contract. You can also do other types of methods, such as a short-term lease option. If they don't want to sell, you can do what's known as the rent-to-rent method. When I learned this back in 2012, it was called the master lease method when I learned in America, which is basically simple. Hey, you don't want to sell it, do you? No, I don't want to sell it. Well, what are you going to do when you rent it? Oh, I'm going to manage it all myself. How about we give you guaranteed rent and manage it all for you, and we're going to place it on Airbnb, which actually looks after the property, and we're going to put money into it to make it better, and Airbnb is going to insure it so you don't have to worry about any maintenance. Is that something you're interested in? Yeah, I'm interested in that. Okay, secure that and sell it to an investor, or keep that for your own portfolio. Again, these are your tools in your toolbox. I hope this helped. In other lessons, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you I'll give you many examples, many case studies of all the deals I've done. I've sourced and sold over 600 properties now, and helped my clients source thousands collectively, literally. Because I've been doing it a while. I've not been doing this 1, 2 years, 3 years. I've been doing this since 2012. And all I've done is this. Again, you can find that out and look at interviews from me back in 2014, 15. All I really do is this. I'm obsessed. I might be an addict, maybe an addict. But it's good for you because these methods can help you make a lot more money, and you can learn from me for free. And if you want to take it to the next level, then great. You'll figure out how to do that, or how to get one of our softwares, or have our agency run all your ads and set up all of your business systems for you, or maybe you want mentoring if you qualify, or whatever we can do together. But you can decide in the future if that makes sense. But for now, I want to talk about, in the next lesson, I'm going to talk about how do you find these opportunities, because it's great having, number one, the knowledge. But how the heck do you find these opportunities? I'm going to teach you who are we looking for, what do you say to them to get their attention, where are they, and when do you do this? So I'm going to give you that system that you can start swiping and deploying to get results, and you let me know how the results go. Sound fair enough? Step 3, in another lesson, I'm going to show you exactly how do you freaking secure these deals. What do you say on your messaging? What do you say on the phone? What is a step-by-step checklist to go from new lead to closed deal? Okay, so secure. Number 3, how do you get paid? This is called your exit method. Every property investor knows their exit before they ever agree a deal. This is what are all the ways that I'm secured to get paid. Are you going to keep it for your own property portfolio? Are you going to flip it? Are you simply going to do a no money down strategy and back it, or source it for an investor? Are you going to put it into an auction as a backup? How are you going to get paid? This is what you need to know before step 2. Before you secure the deal, you already need to know what buyer is going to purchase this property, or what am I going to do with it. Once you understand these methods, it's easy. It's easy to get paid because you're following a proven method. And if you want to scale your business, meaning go from 1 deal a month to 2 to 3 deals a month, my best ever month was 30 deals. If you want to know how to go from 1 deal a month to 2 deals a month to 5 deals a month, how do you scale? It's pretty simple. You need to basically duplicate what you've done times 5, give or take. As you scale, it's going to get worse 20%, so you factor the maths in. But as you scale your business, the key thing you need to know is who do I need in place, and what marketing do I need to spend, or what relationships do I need to build to 3x, 5x, or 10x my business. But that requires systems, and knowledge. And I'll teach you everything on this channel on how to do that. So guys, I appreciate you. My name's Tom Wade. I hope this helped. Let me know any other lessons in the comments. Bit of a raw lesson for you, but I hope this helped. Cheers.